participating in today's meeting. It's about, we all, I think everybody present in the room, we all are immigrants. Myself, as an immigrant, and we all are educated, but educated in a different system. And our kids are studying in the American system of education. Both are education systems, but they have some essential similarities as well as essential differences. The challenge here, of course, is to bring people together. As you will see, the first point in today's meeting, the purpose is actually to come together as a single entity. Right? We all think about these issues as well as essential differences. We all think as individuals. Right? When we are home, we are always facing this situation. What my kid needs to do next year, what kind of course he has to take or she has to take, and probably the father and mother and the child are discussing, probably as a family. Sometimes the child takes his or her own decision, especially in high school. The point is, why not we all actually come together and put our heads together and see what we can actually do about this common problem, which day in and day out we think in our homes, as individuals, as families. Why not we think of this as one single group if possible, and find out some better solutions. We solve the problem, it's not that we don't solve it. But is there a better solution to solving these problems? Can we become better at this? That is the whole idea. So one of the things that we want to find out, I think we have Mahesh here from Edison Visionary Lions Club. We have Mahindra Bhai also, as he has been a math teacher in Pasek, I think, and an educator in the community. So we all want to come together actually and see if parents, community leaders, and others, what we can contribute. So the whole idea of today's meeting is to see what we can do about this problem of immigrant parents and understanding the American education school system. Now, as I would like to actually comment on this title, as I was actually discussing with Mahesh yesterday evening, I thought that it's not more about immigrant parents, it's more about immigrant families. So I don't know, going forward, we may evolve this whole concept. But I would like actually students to come here voicing their concerns also, and not just parents. The whole thing is for the students. The student is at the center of every education system. So I think there has to be some kind of an evolution to this concept. And I think the concept will evolve eventually. So it's more about immigrant families than about immigrant parents. So, and also, a very important thing is to understand the school as a system, like what the system has to offer. So basically, the whole idea is to identify the problems, to initiate a discussion today, and to share information and to search for possible solutions. Now, briefly, the nature of the problems are academic, administrative, financial, and social. Talking about one of the academic problems, it's what course level is your child studying? This is what I commonly find when I'm actually in the class. Many parents come and say that is it like math or what kind of course? Many times I ask what course your child is studying, and the parent is kind of thrown off balance, saying that, oh, you know what, I need to get back to you on this point after I check it out with my son or my daughter. I would like to narrate one very interesting incident that happened. One of my friends who was having a son in high school, he was very happy, that his son is getting all A grades, 95, 97, and all that. And I was quite impressed. I said, wow, that's very good. And when the son came up, and I was talking with him like, okay, what kind of math you are doing? I was at his home and just chatting around as a friend. So I found that his son was doing in 9th grade, he was doing pre-algebra. And in pre-algebra in 9th grade in high school, he was getting 97 and all that. So I think you imagine that, I think everybody knows that pre-algebra is like a middle school course, and he was doing at 9th grade. So I made the parent, my friend, no, even though I know it will break his heart, to find out that his son is actually studying pre-algebra in high school, but I had to make him aware of what it is. And he was really taken aback. He was saying that, well, I was thinking that my son is studying math, and he's doing wonderful. So I was under the impression that everything is fine with his math. So the point is that many times the parents are not even aware of the problems until you actually make them know what the situation is. So the whole effort is to actually come together and understand this. Now, these are the various course levels that we have at elementary school level. We have the gifted and talented, we have the accelerated program, and other things. Now, one of the things that some parents ask me is how we can actually get our child from a regular level to honors level, or from honors level to double honors level. What is very important is actually to find out what is the school criteria. The best is to go back to the school, find out what criteria a particular township school has got, because the criteria differs from one board of education to the other board of education. They have some periodic tests, they have certain, like every marking period the student must get an A, or a B minus, or some B plus, or something like that, a minimum 85 and above, or 90 and above. So what is very important is to know what are the criteria the school has set up for getting into the next level. Then they have this end of the year test like NJR, Spark. Then placement tests are also there. In many townships, some tests are called prognosis. Every town has their own name for the various placement tests. So also there are some summer programs with school authorization that you can get into. Doing these summer programs on your own is not recommended, because if you have not got the school authorization, then the summer program will not get counted in the school transcript of the child. Then there are some administrative issues. A couple of days back when I was talking with Mahendra Bhai, he told me that I think there are a lot of kids who are, this is like an administrative issue, not related to academics, that they are not having immigration papers and immigration documents. So what we do about that particular problem, and I think he will throw some more light on that particular aspect. They have these vaccination issues. Then when families are moving from one town to another town, also there are problems about how to get the kid into the school system. Sometimes the child misses like 2-3 weeks of school education because many parents are not aware of what are the requirements to get the child into the new township schools, and it becomes hard for the student to actually cope up with that extra workload when things fall in place. There are some financial issues also that we can actually discuss today. That is, many parents come to me and ask me whether it is really worth putting their money in a private school, whether private school is better than a public school. So this is one of the some of the more important questions that we need to talk about. College tuition also is a very big amount in this country. In India, of course, we studied for a few, maybe it was almost free education, It was or some few hundred rupees, or I think I passed my graduation with, I think, I don't even remember what amount it was, to be very honest.
120.
And what is that?
I was paying 120 per term.
120 rupees per
master
term.
degree.
So that's $2, right? You finished in that. Okay. So probably it was just a few hundred rupees here or there, but the college tuition in this country can go up to thousands of dollars if you are not planned in a proper manner. So there are ways and means by which we can actually put our heads together, talk about it. We can have some experts also come up who actually know the financial side. We can have some financial guidance counselors of Rutgers University and other universities, we can invite them on special events, and that way we can all get some more valuable information in a manner in which we can understand it and implement it. So also many parents, they ask me when there is time to fill up this FAFSA forms. It could become a very complicated procedure for some families if they don't know the requirements and they are very confused. They don't know where to go to. Many times there are places in school where you will say, well, they have all these things available in school. But I have seen so many immigrant parents, they hesitate in going to school because of the language barriers, because of other cultural issues, because of other social issues. They may be hesitating. So the point is it possible for us as a community, as a group, to kind of do this in a better way? Is it possible instead of parents going to the school, we can actually bring the school system closer to the parents or something like that to bridge the gap between the immigrant parents' mindset or the thought process and what the school system has to offer. There are various social aspects also to this problem. When kids are actually coming in school, we observe that during lunchtime, I think most of you will agree, we say that America is United States of America. It's like people from all over the world come here, and like it's a big hodgepodge of cultures. But when we go to the lunchroom, I have observed that all Chinese students are actually sitting on one table, and all Indian students are sitting on another table taking lunch together. So how much intermingling of students is really taking place in the American school system is something that to be explored, something that to be thought about. What we need to do in order to make our children feel more comfortable. Is there any way we can talk about this or do something about it? Or is there just we are so helpless that we have to just accept the situation as something that is standard and just let it go forever? So that is the whole thing. Then we have after school programs, school trips. Then there are various cultural events nowadays. The Navratri is coming. I see that in Rutgers we have this Navratri festival going on. The Indian Student Association doing over there. So what is the role of these kind of events in the American school system, and what we as immigrant families, what we can do better about it? Each of these topics actually, I'm just rushing by, okay, so please excuse me, because I think each of these topics is something we can have a full-fledged seminar to talk about it. The comparison between SAT and ACT is something that we really need to think about, because it's something very fundamental and something very important whenever a student is crossing over the border from high school and getting into the university education. Then, as you must be knowing, the SAT is changing from March 2016, and many parents have been contacting me, asking me as to what are the changes in the new SAT and in what way it is different from the old SAT. What way my child needs to take care about now. Is there anything in the 8th grade, 9th grade that we need to think about when the child is going to take the SAT at 11th grade? Because it's sometimes too late to really start preparing for the SAT in the 11th grade. So also planning of high school courses for all the 4 years at the end of 8th grade is very important, especially for the math and science courses. I've just given one typical plan for math courses. I mean, if your child is in double honors, or if he's in honors, or he or she is in the regular, these are the typical math courses that your child will be taking. Now, it might differ a little bit from township to township, or from one board of education to another, but typically, I think, as I know, in Edison, John Adams Middle School and Woodrow Wilson, I think they follow this particular. Is anybody from another town over here? I think it's Buglani, right? I think Shriyu is in North Edison. I think typically it must be kind of this, right? If I remember, Shriyu is in what? He's in 9th. I think he's doing algebra 2 or something. So I think this format is very important, right? Many families, they actually sit down and plan out all the high school courses well in advance at the end of the 7th or 8th grade, so that they are very clear about the picture. Now, a very important thing is this, that some parents, quite late in their career, say for example, a student is doing Algebra 1 in honors in 8th grade. Now, this student wants to do something by which he can do Algebra 2 next year. So what planning is necessary now? What we need to do about this? I mean, some of you might suggest some points, like a person wants to jump from honors level to double honors level. From Algebra 1, he wants to do Algebra 2 because some of his friends are in double honors. And besides the friends, it is very important to further one's own career prospects. So the best thing to do in this kind of a situation is to wake up early, to know the situation as early as possible. The later you wake up and try to remedy the situation, the more complicated and difficult it gets. So that is the whole idea. The purpose of calling people together is to make them more alert right in the middle school stage or early stages as to what these academic issues are. So the best way to do this is, now say for example, if January or February of the year is crossed, then you can't do anything about it. It's like sometimes a matter of 15 days late you woke up and then you can't do anything. If you do something, say by the middle of December, then you can contact the school guidance counselor, get the school authorization form for summer programs. There are 5 credit summer programs in various private schools like Wardlaw Hartridge, St. Joseph's in Metuchen, then Rutgers Prep at New Brunswick, at Eastern Avenue. These kind of schools, they do 5 credit courses in summer. If you take up the geometry course in summer and complete that 120 hours credit course, the student can get Algebra 2 in the next year. So that is how you move from regular level to honors level, or honors level to double honors level. I've seen students actually moving in 2 academic years, 2 summers, from, if the student is bright enough, but just because he or she was not missed the boat, you can say, in middle school. Sometimes the immigrant parents with bright kids, they come in middle school, like from the home country, like in 5th grade or 6th grade. And sometimes just because they are not aware of the situation, they get some home room for one period instead of doing some real math. They come in the middle of the year, and sometimes they lose one whole year. Now the child is very bright, but the parent is so busy establishing himself or herself with all job issues and other things, hardly has time to actually think about the child's career, barely is able to pull things together. So what, after 3-4 years, they wake up once they kind of establish themselves in the country, and by the time they they really come to know what's going on, it's too late to remedy the situation. So yes.
You said in 5 places you can do the geometry.
Excuse
but
me?
You said in some 5 institutes you can do the geometry, but the school has that, right? It's not that it's
No, it's a very good question. Actually, in the last year, even JP Stevens has started. Now, many public schools are also starting during the summer these type of courses.
But when we entered in the middle schools, they weren't offering this type of summer courses. Once we entered,
Exactly. The public school system many times during summer does not offer this because of funding issues. I think the township funding issues and other things. And the number of people also coming up for these courses, the economic viability and other things. So that is why you need to go to the private schools. I don't think it costs a lot of money compared to the advantage the child gets, some $1,200 to $1,800. This is what information I have. I may be wrong, correct me.
$800.
800, right? So it's quite cheap. I mean, it's not really, if you say private school, but really speaking, doing one course in private school during summer is not like thousands of dollars. Even if suppose it is, let's say if it's not 800, but even 1,500, jumping a child's full math course track one level above, I think it's worth it.
but I mean, I don't know, but when not given any.
Which school? I mean, just to go in little detail.
John Adams.
John Adams, okay.
And some other school also when I got this.
I would suggest you check it out with some private schools. At least as far as I know, most of the private schools, right from Algebra 1 to AP Calculus, I'm not sure about AP Statistics, most of the private schools, at least the three names I took up, Wadlow Hartridge, Rutgers Prep and St. Joseph's, they have these courses right from Algebra 1 to AP Calculus. I have sent my own kids, in St. Joseph's Metachil one summer, and the other summer I sent them to Rutgers Prep, just because, to be very, I'll tell you my situation. I came up when my kids were in the 8th grade and 9th grade. So even though they were like pretty, good kids, and myself, I was in the system of education, studying math education at Rutgers University, doing my PhD, but still it took time for me to settle down, and I had to go through the same process. So I'm actually telling you something from my own personal experience, and I'm actually guiding many of the parents at the tutoring center where I have this course of action, and they have benefited a lot in the past 5 to 6 years. And many of the kids, because of doing the summer schools courses in one of the private schools, has jumped up. But very important is to wake up early. Wake up early means by December, you need to actually be aware of what the situation is. Second, you need to initiate the steps with the school in which the student is right now studying, maybe a middle school or high school. Talk with the guidance counselor which schools they are recommending, and get the school authorization form signed by, I think, the assistant, probably the assistant principal, and the math teacher needs to sign that form. And once they authorize it, then only you should go to the private school and do that particular course. That way, even though your child is actually studying in the private school in summer, whatever grade he or she gets in that summer course will be incorporated, will be transferred by the private school or the other school to the regular school. And the regular school will incorporate that course in the school transcript that is given to the child at the end for college application purposes. So very important is to do the course and to make sure that that course gets included in the school transcript to be finally sent to the college application. So it's building right from the beginning to the end. There has to be a complete link and a proper thought out plan.
So from your experience, North Edison School allows that?
If I'm not mistaken, last year for the first time I heard that in summer JP Stevens had started some courses, right? That's what parents have told me, and I have kind of checked it out. So, but I'm not sure whether they are offering the entire range of courses. That I have not found out.
Financial related courses, half semester course.
Yeah.
The financial related, some bank of finance.
Financial literacy.
Yeah, those are like
Okay, those kind of
Yeah.
courses. Okay,
Yeah.
so they've made a beginning. Okay, in this, but you can, but we can. That's what the whole purpose of these meetings are. That we need to actually come together as a group and really start thinking about these things and share information. I think, Mahesh, this would be a good idea to have a blog or something where, people who have the information in this regard can put it on that for the purpose of, other people in the community can read that.
Just can I add something? Now that example you give from now algebra 1 to algebra 2 means just it going from 1 to 2, just it going to missing that geometry part. And for that now algebra 2, nowadays geometry is a prerequisite. So you have to take the geometry course before you take algebra 2.
Exactly. So that is the reason.
Just no matter what school you are in New Jersey, they all have to follow the core curriculum standards.
Yes.
School is not material. You have to follow certain.
You have to. You cannot.
Deviate.
Yeah, that's what we discussed just right now. And then there is a whole issue of scholarships, because I am myself not an expert on the kind of scholarships that are available, but there are some scholarship guidance counselors. It's not necessary that your child is like an absolutely genius in order to have a scholarship. There are thousands and thousands of scholarships available
Yes.
for different kind of situations. Even if your child is of average academic performance, There are scholarships, tons of scholarships available because they consider not only the academic performance, but also the kind of community service your child has given during the summer time and other things. There are athletic scholarships also. Then corporate scholarships. If you are an employee of some big corporations like IBM or Johnson and Johnson, if you kind of find out, then your employer will be having tons of scholarships for your kids. The only thing is, one, having awareness of it, having knowledge and information of it, and second, after having the knowledge and information, doing whatever is necessary, the formalities to take advantage of it.
Just apply.
Really.
Just apply. Sometimes.
Yeah, for submitting the papers and documentations, that is what. There are scholarships for minorities, scholarships for women, for girl students, creative scholarships. If you are interested in some creative things like dancing and filmmaking and stuff like that, if your child is interested in those kind of fine arts, then there are tons of scholarships this country has to offer to students who are really innovative and want to do those kind of fine art activities. Now, just ending up, what is the immediate goal actually? Today, we want to actually just talk as a group, okay, and come and let us see what we can actually do about this problem. And I think Mahendra Bhai would like to talk something and say a few words. Well, that is it, what I had. It's not like one smiley face I want. We want all of us to come together. So that is the whole idea. I would like to end the brief talk and invite Mahendra Bhai to say a few words.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Baldev, Mr. Chittis, Mr. Patil, I know only few people here. I just got a call only yesterday from Mr. Baldev, and I said, and as the topic said, immigrants' parents, so I concentrated mainly on the parent. And students, I can deal on the spot because I have worked for 43 years all over the world as a teacher, mathematics, from high school level to college level. So I can help you in that. And this is also one of my goals, to help just somebody who has some problem. And for me, it will be very good also because I am the certified in math, science, and physical science, in guidance also. And I'm also certified in the bilingual, bicultural education in this country for the state of New Jersey. So I can give you a wide range of experiences if you have any question. Okay, first thing is about the immigrant children in this country makes about 20% of the population as per the 2010 census record. And now today it has increased by 10 more percent. So 30% of the school going population in this country are the immigrant children. And when the parents come to this country with their young kids, they are coming to a new country and totally just unknown country, and they do not know how to settle. All the parents are saying, just when you meet somebody, those who are very old people, why you come to this country? Not for us, we come for our children's education. We come for our kids, and that is true. We also had the same thing. So, but when they come here with their young kids, and I have seen parents are so helpless, children are so helpless when they come to school. For the first 10 days, they don't even know where to go. I was in a school system with 3,000 kids in one building. It's a very big school and 350 staff members. And to go from one end to other end, we need a just navigation system. We used to give that chart to all the kids. And so it was so difficult. Those who are coming from very, very rare, very, it's just suburban area from Gujarat, they don't know English. So it was quite tough for them. Okay, what are the main problems with the parents? Okay. Parenting difficulties are school, maintaining cultural heritage, monitoring their child's behavior and family dynamics. Most of you are told, but I will put a little bit light on it. For immigrant parents, it is very difficult to participate in the school life, as the school teachers, administrators are asking parents to volunteer just to respond the letters sent to home, and mainly in English. As a parent, you can also ask them to translate. In my school, we used to give letters, the same letters in 7 different languages. I was in a school system with 76 countries children and with about 15 to 17 background language. So we used to have in Gujarati, Hindi, Spanish, Arabic, Hebrew, and of course in English. So my school has hired special translators to inform the parent exact material. Sometimes if you give only in English, parents do not see even, they put it in a garbage. Okay. Then sometimes they are asking to be a room parents. Sometimes parents have to work long hours so that they can provide the child's necessity, provide their children education, study pace, most of the things, all this problem, you know. So I will not go into much detail. I think if you have some question, I can address those with my experience in this country school system. I was working with the State Board of Education also, with the Educational Testing Service also, and all these things, so I can throw my experiences now instead of giving some lecture. Most of the things are covered by Mr. Baldev. So if you have any question, I'll be more than willing to help on what can we do. But only thing, all the solution or to solve all those problems involving PTA, Parent Teachers Association, attend the Board of Education the meeting, get involved in education, Board of Education election. Most of us do not go even. Where I used to work, there were about 500 Indian family. Only 10 people were coming to the vote. Even we used to call them, but they don't care attitude. So this should change. Any issue of your child, please call or meet somebody, go to the school, find some time, attend open house. When I used to work in the beginning in 80s, I had about 200 parents coming to see. I'm talking about the Indian parents. 200 parents, at least I have to see. It was a very hectic job, but by the time I just retired, I had hardly 1 or 2 parents. And those parents whose children are doing excellent, A+ grade, they just come us to see, hi, hello, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. But those who have issues with their education, those parents are not coming. So if you are one of them, please try to go with your child, talk to the teacher, talk to the guidance counselor, see the principal, see the board member, or go to the Board of Education meeting, and at the end of the meeting, there is an open floor. You can ask any question, you can raise any issue, and they have to think. And one more thing, it is by the law of this country, by the federal government, if any school district has more than 20 students of one ethnic background or one type of the language, they have to provide a bilingual education to them. It is a law. Second thing about the illegal immigrant, no school systems are supposed to ask your immigration status. That is also New Jersey law, that is also a federal law. So illegal children has nothing to worry about. Only thing, when they go to college, they may not get that discounted fees schedule. Otherwise, there is nothing to worry about it. Attend just open house schedule. He talked something about the schedule. People have no idea about the schedule. So just they start early in December, January, and they give the schedule for the tentative schedule for the next year, and that is the right time to take into your hand. Give priority to education, because most of the school system gives you the year round, what you call the calendar. You know that my son has so on so and so date the open house. Why could you arrange it? Why could you do some flexibility with this your schedule, your job, so that at least you can be going with that?
In our school, they did ask us about our immigration status on the PSATs.
But if you do not have, you don't have to worry. If they ask, leave it blank. You don't have to worry. Even you don't have to give social security number, because I have worked in a school system where 76% population were Spanish, and all were from South, and only 25% do not have the documents, and still they used to study. And they have graduated, they are well established in Europe. So I think that should not be an issue. Okay, and about the schedule, about one thing, about the lunch also. Most of us are strictly vegetarian. If you talk to the school system, they have to provide a vegetarian. In my school system, we had a vegetarian lunch system, salad bar, everything. But you have to go and approach to the right people. Most of the time, what is the problem with our community people? They have all other priorities, but not the school, but the school. So they don't get involved. So as a parent, if you are involved, even in my school system, when you take a case, suppose think of a child who just came 3 months back to this country without any English, and he has to take now the state mandated standardized test, PARC or HESPA, everything, and all the instructions are given in English. They don't know even what is going on. So there is a program in this state also. We used to give the instruction in that native language. Even I used to translate the HESPA test. Perhaps some of you might have taken the HESPA test. The whole HESPA test into Gujarati language, and we used to give them that. Even the state board, just education, hired people to translate in Spanish, in Hindi, or in Gujarati, or any other language. So there are so many opportunities, but we are not just claiming it. As for the scholarship, thousands of scholarship we carried forward to the next year, because there is no one to apply for that, or there is no one is claiming it. So we have to just educate our kids, our parents, our community, what are the resources are available in this country. That's the only thing, just you ask for it, and you get it. So about schedule, lot of things, even in the exam, you can get all these things, even for translation, even parent night, interpreter, everything is just, even in court system also they do give you interpreter everywhere. So why not in school system? So we can do a lot of things if we just united, if we address the problem to the right people at the right time, we can get good outcome of it. Thank you very much. If you have any question, I can just address from my experiences with you, being a teacher in this school system for more than 30 years. So I can.
One question about the teaching styles. So I've studied in India.
Okay.
Studying in the US is different, right? So I have some idea about it, but from your experience,
Okay.
how would you categorize those math
Okay.
teaching versus teaching?
Very good question, and that is one of the reasons. Okay. India's teaching is mainly content-wise. We are very big in content. Here, we just touch it from the surface. We give the different name. In my country, we have only algebra or geometry. Here we have pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, the geometry A, B. It is all same thing, but they just give what you call compartmentalized and very superficial. As far as my experience in 30 years in this country, I have not used my 5% of the content knowledge to teach in this country. That's what I can say. So,
Not good.
yeah. I have not reached my 5% of what I know. Because if you give something else, they don't care.
Are you saying they stay on the surface, they don't go deep? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry?
They don't go deep out here?
No. They just touch even being in, just inside we have a lot of curriculum, but nobody finishes the curriculum here. Mainly, they just go live on the student side. And why we are not feeling this thing? Because mainly Indian kids are very good in math and science and physics. They are self-motivated, some help from the parents. So we do not see this issue.
So you're saying they introduce the concept in class, but they leave it to you to practice, basically, you say?
Yes.
I think one of the things, I'll just restrict it to math, my talk. What I found here is that compared to the textbooks and the problems in math in India, as I was teaching, and here in India, if I would compare, like say, calculus or even algebra exercises, I think 95%, as you say, the content is very high there.
Very high, there's very high content.
95% of the problems were based on content. That's why they could go very much deep in the content. And they would do trigonometry and what kind of, I remember we did so many trigonometry proofs like left hand side is equal to right hand side and LHS is equal to RHS. I don't know whether you guys
Riders and
remember
identities and
So we
everything.
did tons of questions. And here, when I teach trigonometry, it's like, as you said, they do like 5-10 questions, basic questions of LHS, RHS, and then if you will see 80% of the exercises on word problems, applications, wow, like pictures. Maybe the printing technology is also good that they can show some real life pictures. And nowadays it's black and white and hardly they would print properly, typesetting and all. So now I think the whole emphasis is from content to application, which is I think now a big question mark comes. These are like big issues about the system, and these are more academic issues, pedagogical issues, whether this is a good thing to do, because I think this country's education system is heavily application oriented.
Since last 10 years only in this country for the state of New Jersey, when HESPA came, you have to show the work. Just before HESPA, the test was HSPT, high school proficiency test. All the multiple choice question. And let me just tell you only one thing. I have seen students, they do not even open the question paper. They just put a very good design there, fill out those bubbles, and they give the paper. And by chance, one student get passed also. He has not even opened because everything was multiple choice. While in India, we had only out of 100, 5 blanks. That is only matching only 5%, 95% you have to write. And that is what was missing here. So here they cannot fill even the application form, even the FAFSA form what he is talking. We used to take classes there to fill out the FAFSA form, in my school. Hundreds of parents, and we used to go one by one and have to do this. And just we have to check also whether they fill the right bubble or not. That was the situation. But anyway, that is not with our Indian students. So we have to, and I'm very happy to say since last 19 years in my school, class 1 rank, that valedictorian is always an Indian. 19 years in a row. And out of 3 of my students get 10% on the SAT. 1600. Yeah, so that perhaps that will not be the issue, but still we have to wake up a lot of things. Not for us, I think our children are settled, but for somebody else, those who are coming here. And one more thing, last thing, if just somebody is coming to in this country as an immigration, ask them to bring the transcript, bring those vaccination records, all the documents sealed. Sometimes what happened, very classic case I can tell you, in my school system to get the graduation For high school diploma, you must have a 4 years of American history, the requirement. Now think of a student who is coming from India in 10th grade. If he's starting here, he will have only 3 years of not just American history. What about the 4th year? So all these things, the requirement you should know. Now instead of writing them history, just write them world history, so that can be considered as a now American history. A lot of things we can manipulate here. As a guidance counselor, I used to do that also. Just when they asked me to read the transcript, I used to tell them, okay, this is in India called now just US history, but they use different name. But I know the syllabus and it was okay like that. And just one more thing from my experience. If you are a student, just if you are moving in the senior year of your child education, you have an option. You can, your child can continue the education in that particular school, though you may be just moving out of the township. You don't have to pay that fee. Generally, it is about $10,000 per pupil. The state is paying or spending, so they will ask that money. But if it is just senior year, so do not worry. Oh, I have to take him. No, still, of course, you have to drive him or her, but whatever setup he has or she has for the last 4 years, with all those teachers, report and everything, that will help her. So it is not necessary to change the school, or if you have to just move out of the school district, still you have that option. Just you have to talk to them. Okay. Or any other question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not coming from the academic background, but I'm going to talk about the community aspect of education. The way that, again, like I'm going to sort of be a little more controversial than what both of you mentioned, and talk about the same thing, about the so-called quality of education. But I'll touch on that a little later. The bigger problem that we have, and that is where Prashant has taken this initiative to start this conversation, is about the difference in systems. Okay? We all talked about algebra 1, algebra 2, etc., etc., etc. We have choices. You go to summer schools, up your grades, go to a different level of education. All of us who studied back home in India, we never had that choice. You took admission in your kindergarten and went till 10th grade. You made that one choice, whether you want to go to art, science, commerce, whichever area that you want to. You went to your 11th grade, 11th, 12th, you studied, you didn't see here and there. And after 12th, you decided to go to whichever course, went to engineering, commerce, science, whichever. But there also you had probably, if it was in your course, that you had one elective that you could choose. Rest of them you just sort of went according to what the government academic agencies put the course in. The system in this country is more liberal, more basically you have more choices on finding out what you want to do in life. Again, coming back to the basics of the philosophies in India, Indian education system is basically a British education system. British education system and American education system. The basic difference, and not only education system, the system itself is the Indian system, a British system, is very, very process oriented. And we are the system here is result oriented. Okay. Just take a life example. If you go to work, if you go in an office, in India, we have this thing, 8 o'clock, did you reach to the office or not? How much time that you went for coffee? And your boss would be catching you up on every single detail. Okay? Not worrying about what you are producing in that time. You are sitting on your desk, like in the past, writing on things or typing on things and you're there for 8 hours and produced 0 results, you are still like, oh, you put in 8 hours, 10 hours of work. Whereas when you come to US, when you go to offices, when you work in the corporate world, they look at what you produced. Obviously, going to office is important. You are not just like sort of going to bring in something and put it in, but the emphasis is given on a task given to you and whether you are given a task on Wednesday and you did finish in next Wednesday or not. Similar thing creeps into the education system also. In Indian education system or Asian education system for that matter, go to Kuman or whichever other education outlets that we have here. The emphasis is on practice, emphasis on repetition. You keep doing things. As we mentioned, the content, you have such a heavy emphasis on content that you have to do 1,000 things. Whereas what the American education system believes in is like sort of exposing children to a particular subject matter. And it is up to that ability and interest of that particular person. They go into details of certain things. Just a simple example, and I'm pretty sure many of the parents here are involved into that we never used to, like when we were in India, our parents never usually got involved into what we were studying. Okay? We were just going to the school system, or sometimes like the outside school, the tuitions and tutoring and all that. We were doing repetitive work. We were doing like sort of 100 algebra questions, 200 this thing. Whereas like as Prashant mentioned, we are more of application oriented here. How many of you did the project for your kids? Most of you, right? What is the purpose of the projects that are given to the kids here? Okay, the teacher teaches you a little bit. Say American history we talked about. They give you an outline of American history, okay, and then they give you a topic to do a project on. So the expectation is depending on the interest and depending on the ability of that child learns. And that is why, like sort of, if you look at it, like the number of researchers coming out of American schooling system, I'm not even going to the college system. The number of researchers coming out of this system are some of the European system, not the British this thing, but German, Russian systems. There are more researchers because the children are taught to do research. They are taught to like sort of go further. If a student wants to just sit there and get out, okay, it's very, very simple here. Okay, like you would create lots of these people with no abilities at the end of their high school graduation. But at the same time, you get people with higher academic standards also in this particular system, because of the obvious reason that, like, if you are interested, it depends on your skills, it depends on your interest, where you want to reach. And the purpose of this particular initiative that Prashant has is that bringing in parents, bringing in your ideas and help each other, so to say, and make them go take that next step. It's not like, again, using his example, it's not good that like your son or daughter getting 97% or A+ on every single thing. Like sort of one word that was we had a discussion late last night, and one phrase that came up. It is about the quality of the quantity. It is not only like sort of the numbers that are important, but what these numbers are coming out of. Whether he's getting the advanced AP courses, like AP courses, and getting B+, or doing very, very substandard courses and getting A+. So that is what, like, sort of we as a parent need to understand, and that is what the gap is. Most of the people are here, and like sort of most of the Indian immigrants in this Central Jersey area that I come across, they are educated. Most of them are engineers, doctors, they attorneys. They have a good education background, and still at the same time, we are all worried about how we are going to train our children, and that is the exact the gap that Prashant is trying to fill in. And the reason that he got me in and I got in front is what next? We had this discussion. We talk about variety of aspects, and I want to touch upon, but this is not the emphasis of the topic today, that it is not only academics. Even when he was going through the slides, you had the social issues, financial issues, administrative issues. How do we deal with them? Okay, one of the simple thing, it is not in Edison School District that I know of, but many of the school districts mandate that your child has to have 50 voluntary hours before they graduate high school. They are not allowed to graduate unless they have 50 voluntary hours. Suddenly, if we wake up, or in Indian parenting, many times we wake up, not the children. We wake up suddenly one day saying, oh, okay, like sort of, my son didn't do anything and my daughter didn't do anything, and how can I get this 50 voluntary hours? Okay, and then we start working on that. Okay, that is like somehow 50 voluntary hours, like anybody can do it in week and a half if they want to. What is, like, why do they need voluntary hours? We never think about that. What is the impact of voluntary hours into their life in general? It's not like, even if the school mandates, and Edison doesn't, I know that. If they don't mandate the voluntary hours, still our children need to get voluntary hours. There are two major reasons. Have you come across them? No, you never came across the
credit points
yes and no.
and the experience.
Experience, that is like that is what is most important in this. But more than that, there are, you know that, you should not claim it. There are two reasons that why you need to have the voluntary hours. One is the honor society. Like I don't have a feel that which grades your kids are in. 9th, 10th and 6th. 9th. So it's like sort of high schoolers. Junior year, they will be going for National Honor Society. You need to have 120 hours of community service before you apply for National Honor Society. It's like National Honor Society helps, like if you are on a NHS, it goes a long way while you're taking admissions and scholarships and all that. You need to have 120 hours of community service. Okay? If you start in the month of September of your junior year, that, I need 120 hours, you can't. Okay? They are filling up the NHS application now, the junior students, like this month. I'm writing the recommendations, so I know. So they come, like if you come to know about that at a later phase, if like he's my son, he's in 7th grade. He started like accumulating his voluntary hours from last couple of years. He keeps the log and he gets the sign from whoever he works for. So when he goes to junior year and like he wants to go to honor society, he doesn't have to like sort of go running after hours. Okay? He would have like the thing ready. He will just like go to school and give his log of voluntary hours. But we as a parent, like I came to know about this because somebody asked me for voluntary hours a few years back, and I told him that like you have to maintain a log. Okay? That information is missing from us as a parent, and that is what the whole concept of this is. Both of them would address the academic issues, but these are like more of community social issues.
I think this is very important what you're saying.
So that is one thing that like sort of I want to emphasize on. And the second thing is like sort of again the voluntary hours. When you go to when you apply to schools here, unlike the system that we went through, whatever scores that you had in 10th grade or 12th grade, that mattered. Your HSC or junior college or whatever that it was called in different states, that score of 12th grade score mattered. You couldn't become an engineer if you are like sort of 3 marks less in math or something like that. But that is not the case here. When you go for college admissions, there are several aspects that are important. Your SATs or ECT scores are important. Your grades are important. The essays that you're going to write for the school are important, and something like community service hours are important. Okay. Yes.
We were at the college fair at JP Stevens, and I asked exactly this question: that how important is voluntary service? They stressed that the first thing we look at, really, and this was people from Rutgers, is the high school record.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they look at the SAT scores. And he says community service is part of it, but we really don't give it too much emphasis. I mean, this may be a Rutgers policy.
It depends on school to school.
You know, yeah.
It depends on school to school.
But he emphasized over and over again that the two things that matter the most in an application is your high school record. He said if you have a number of community service hours, you did very well in the SAT. But if you we look at your high school record, you got a D or an F or a C in math, we will not admit you.
That is exactly the point.
Yeah.
Okay, like if you're obviously that is not like your community service is not going to bring that up.
Yeah.
But that is helping.
Yeah.
The thing is, it helps in scholarships. If you go to like get admitted to school, but what about our scholarships?
Yes.
And I have personal experience that people take the community service hours and recommendation letters very, very seriously. Okay, I have written to like I used to write, like when people ask me for recommendation letters like 5, 6, 7 years back, and I used to just randomly write, oh, he's the best guy and whatnot. Like why would you
Yes.
say negative things, right? So you write the best possible things. And I got a call from the schools saying that like sort of this is not what we are expecting. Okay, like sort of I had gotten like, and I'm going to throw the names. I usually don't like throwing the names. I had written a recommendation to Stanford. There is a girl from JP Stevens. She was in our youth group, Leo Club, and I wrote a recommendation letter for her. Instantly, like when they got the application, within a week's time, I got a phone call saying that like sort of, I know that like she asked you to write this, okay, but we want you to write a honest opinion about her, giving the examples.
That's right.
Okay.
I've written 2 recommendation letters too. I've got emails immediately back when the kid for Cornell. And I got an email back, but that was to confirm first that I did write the recommendation.
Right.
But you're right, I did put in her strong points as well as her weak points. I mean, I didn't just like praise her all through because I knew that this happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like when I wrote this, they asked me to talk about only the leadership qualities of this person because like sort of my recommendation was for leadership. So not like it didn't matter whether she's very good in school. She said like sort of she's academically very good. We see that through transcript. Okay? Yeah. So we want to see what their leadership qualities are because they have like certain quotas for the scholarship in leadership, the scholarships in a particular aspect of life. It's a cultural thing, like if a student is perform for us in several events, and if we give that recommendation, that matters. So anyway, the coming back to the point is like sort of what the goal of what this initiative that started today is to bring in that knowledge that everybody has and help each other. Even like sort of from my personal perspective, like Prashant has done his doctorate in education and he knows like how the system works, etc. From my perspective is like I have a young son, like he is going to go to high school in next couple of years, and I never studied in this education system. So even I need to figure it out. I'm in community service. I'm involved into the community, and I know what is happening in the community in general. That is another aspect that we will go and touch in the future, which Prashant just lightly touched about community integration, getting involved into the community. It is increasing now. We are changing. In the past, like my uncle, who is the first person from my family to come to US, he came here about 45 years back. Okay. So then that time, there was not like, it happens with all the communities. We don't blame the only Indian community, but they live within their community. You have like sort of a smaller Indian groups, smaller North Indian group and Maharashtrian groups and Kannada groups. You have that smaller groups, and we don't get integrated in the society. This education system is one aspect of it, but getting involved into the community is very, very important. And we started doing that. Like right now, I think when we started the session, we have a person called Ajay Patil at the back. He is running for the council, Edison Council. So he would be involved into the well-being of this town. We had a couple of assemblymen. We had Upendra Shivkula here for a number of years. He just resigned. But we have Raj Mukherjee, who is, again, assemblyman from Jersey City, who is getting involved and bringing in this Indian cultural aspect to the legislation in the New Jersey state. So all of us need to get involved into that direction, so that we started calling this as our home. So let's be the part of that home. So should I touch what we discussed? A couple of things that we were discussing about taking this particular thing forward. One is we can have a session like this every month. We can have like sort of we can decide on either a weekday evening or a like Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. We can have a session where we can bring in a couple of experts in whichever topic that we have, people from colleges, people from the community, people from the financial institutes, and have them start discussing about what the issues are related to academics. That is one thing that we can do. And the other thing that, like, again, it was just when we were brainstorming last night, it came up that like we can have a sort of a bulletin board kind of a thing. We will have these experts write blogs every periodically, every month, every 2 weeks, whichever is feasible. And then we can have the groups, not only the parents from Edison, but all over this area. They can come in and then we can have this dialogue. If they have questions, somebody has a solution, somebody has got comments, we can start discussing that and take this forward to a level which serves the immigration community in general, not only just Indian community. Right now, since all of us are Indian, I'm talking from the Indian perspective. But issues are like all the issues of all the immigrants are similar. So we can start talking about that, and that is what my goal was when I came. Like when I read, I read it's one of his posts that he's going to have this seminar, and when we started discussing, that is one of my goals was to bring it to a level that it just not remains a academic discussion, but it can help each one of us in guiding our students, our sons and daughters, because the biggest problem is that we don't know what happens inside the schoolroom. We don't know. Our window is like whatever thrice a year to go to open house, parent-teacher conference, and whatever that they say. And most of the times, I'm pretty sure that the parents who came here are conscious about their academics of their children. So all that you, like as he was saying, that you go there and like sort of you will just hi, hello, he's doing exceptional, don't worry about him, and that's it. That is what we get. But the real thing that like how to take them to that next step, and if we are thinking about our children going and taking bachelor's courses, guiding them through, okay, like sort of if they want to pick up a particular area of expertise, who should we go and talk to? If I become say a medical doctor, who should I go and talk to that person can guide him, if not me? That is what like sort of I think we are trying to bring in here, bring in people, bring in resources to tell you and us what we can do. There would be a possibility that all of us as parents can come and say that like, oh, okay, Indian community needs to do this for our children. And like we have as a whole some anchoring points in the community. We can go to our mayors, we can go to our assembly, we can go to several areas, and we can make that change, make that happen. Till now, the cultural aspect that we were talking about, we had like sort of some things here and there randomly done in schools, but there was a initiative to have Diwali as a holiday. Okay, it may or may not. I think Edison gives Edison gives one. We are not in Edison school district, so I don't know exactly what happens in Edison. But we might have Diwali as a vacation. But what are people knowing about Diwali? It is not only about like sort of we going into the culture and getting assimilated in culture. It is about others also understanding what our culture is, so that they won't feel threatened about it. Like this incident always happens. Many of these sardars carry Krupan as their thing. That's religious thing that they have to carry the knife. Okay? People get threatened by that. But letting people know why they carry Krupan, what is the philosophy behind that, and how any of our cultural aspects take place. That if we have to get that done, and that is where like sort of if we started at that younger level, that like years of our sons and daughters know about what Indian culture is, they will be assimilated better than anything else. I'll end up with like sort of this one aspect about the cultural thing. I went a long time back, about 20 years back, when I was new to this country, and I went to meet one of my friends in the University of Chicago, University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, actually. I went there, and they had this. This was a South Indian group, and in their the religious practices, they have a big deal about there is a puja before during the pregnancy of the lady, and the puja is like sort of a proper. They have this home havan and things like that. So he was a PhD student, and he got the university student center or something for this event, and they started this ritual. They had like some Guruji coming in from somewhere, and they had this havan puja. Okay, and then obviously the fire alarm went off and whatnot, and the number of police cars and firefighters, everybody sort of came in, and then this guy was like trying to explain what they were doing, why the fire alarm went off. So he said, he went out and he said like sort of, we were having a campfire inside a religious campfire inside the building. Like they instantly arrested him. They didn't let him talk for like next word. Then we had to go back and discuss things that like what it was, and they didn't mean to. It was controlled fire and whatnot. But the point is basically, if we don't let people know what our culture is, our children are going to face that one way or the other at some point of time. And the whole concept of bringing this knowledge that it is really extra. I really appreciate what Prashant is doing for our community. The thing that he's bringing in here to let us know what it is, and then we can go back and forth. We can get ourselves educated, and we can educate others about our ideas. There might be something in Indian education system that might be better than what we have here. Let's bring that here, rather than like sort of we just saying that, oh, okay, our system was better and they are worse here, or vice versa. So that is the point. If you have any questions, I'm available. I have my emails with Prashant. You can give it to them, and we can continue.
Send up like a follow-up, like some communication to everyone. And I'll let Mahesh's email ID as well as Mahendrabhai's email ID in that, so that we all can coordinate.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Prashant.
Are there any questions or something we can share? This is like more like an open time now.
So going back to your question, the thing about the process and result, how do you bridge the gap then? The two systems, I guess.
This will come in like sort of it will be more of my personal views on this.
Sure.
The thing is the British system that was implemented in India was based on creating the workers, creating the clerical
Bureaucrats.
bureaucrats. So that was like sort of that was their goal. So they didn't want to like sort of start a researcher. They didn't want to have researchers and things like that. So that was the limited focus. So they were more content oriented. They were more repetition. They used routines better than the research. So that was good at that level. Again, not every single person needs to go into research. Okay? Like not every single child needs to go into development, like research and development and things like that. If your child is interested in repetitive work, routine stuff, you can obviously the Indian system, the British system was better. If you want your child to be creative, innovative, and go and explore things, take risks in life, okay, then these are the system that work on. Personally, like sort of forget about this details. Personally, I'm very result oriented. It doesn't matter whether you do it at a particular time or not. The system needs to work. Okay. Let's take the same example of this particular event. Prashant would have just sat there, like sort of he has a tutoring. He has a tutoring institute. He would have sat there, got the students, got his money, and like he wanted to. He promises to take the grades up. So their grade went up, and he can just sit home and take that money and relax. But what his goal is to like sort of the result that the child needs to be exceptional in math. So that is why he was talking about going from pre-algebra to algebra 1 to whichever step that you want to go up to. That is what is like sort of I feel is the important thing in this system. This system believes on your initiative. If your child is relaxes, if your child doesn't want to do certain things, you are going to get a substandard product. There is no sort of by-hearting, mugging up things and reproducing it at one point of time here. You have to show your initiative. And as he was rightly mentioning, that this system will produce the best possible researchers and the worst possible servants also. Okay, because like sort of there is no defined content. Okay, the system that gives the multiple choices will not produce the best possible candidate. You are standardizing that by doing that multiple choice. You are standardizing the system, so you reach to minimal level of education. But to jump up and high, it has to be your initiative. So it depends on us.
Choice thing is, I just am now talking a little more randomly, openly. I think the multiple choice system is coming in this country more. I felt because of its easiness to assess the child quickly. Because of labor shortages, teachers are overburdened with teaching and then correcting the papers. So when it is an open-ended question, it's like more labor intensive for the teacher to apply their minds